Welcome to Bhakti Steps. There are prayers on my screen. Please chant with me. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantika Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Uttapadagammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान विधांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नुसते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु वैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So, welcome to Bhakti Steps. We will continue from where we had stopped. That was text number 30. So, here Krishna was explaining about Brahman conception. Brahman conception is to see the spirit soul and the super soul in all the bodies. Right? That is the vision. Now, when such a vision is achieved, see, this vision is example is Jada Bharat and Prahlad Maharaj, that is their vision. So when this vision is achieved, how does one act? So that's the part we will um, go through. We did till 32nd. Okay. Okay. So we have to do with 32nd. Those. Okay. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of material nature. Despite contact with the material energy, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So the vision tells them that the soul is separate from the body. Okay. So, yeah. So they are able to see the soul to be separate from the body. Okay. And the body is pulling the soul in various directions to do certain things. Technically, the soul has nothing to do with the body, but the body is pulling it everywhere. Hmm? So one doesn't have the defective mentality or destructible mentality that we discussed yesterday. Okay, the living entity appears to be born because of the birth of material body, but actually the living entity is eternal. He is not born, and in spite of his being situated in the material body, he is a transcendental eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in material activities. Therefore, the activities performed due to his contact with material bodies do not entangle him. See, what is the practical benefit of having this kind of understanding? Let's discuss this. Despite being in contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul does nothing or is nor is entangled. What is the practical application? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? What is the practical application of this understanding? Anyone? How many of you work in a company? Does anyone work in a company here?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Have you changed companies?
Yes.
So let's say, you resigned from your company and your company said you're going to work for one more month and then you go, right?
Yes, well,
So tell me, for that 1 month, how is your approach for the work?
mostly you are in the exit mode, so that seriousness will not be there. Anyway, I'm going, so that will be taken care by others.
Okay.
Like that, it will come. And but in other way, sometimes whatever, irrespective of I'm leaving from this organization to other organization, I should not create an impression where, in case in case I need some help or any connect, because the world is very small and you will have to you can connect.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, what that for that 1 month, you will do whatever is necessary, right? Whatever work is
Yes.
given, you will do. Whatever handover is to be done, you will do, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the seriousness level will be, seriously, I need to hand over this thing, right? And we are kind of not so much worried, what will happen, right? We are just worried ki okay, hand over and finish up the project or whatever work remaining is there, just finish it off. So what I'm trying to say is, just like in that one month, you are not at all uh, so much worried of the company and all that, right? You're not worried what will happen to the project or something. You are just focused on your work, because you know that okay, you have only 1 month and that's it. So this work needs to be done, whatever is under your responsibility, do it and hand over it, right? That is all what is going on in the mind. Are you worried of everything else in the going on in the company?
No.
So this vision is same thing. This Brahman conception is same thing. One is still there in the body, but is not entangled by it, because it knows it is separate from it. It knows it is driven by the modes of nature. Getting? So I took that example to give you understanding of what is it, how to work in that spirit. So Prahlad Maharaj, after his father was killed by the Narsingha Bhagavan, then Prahlad Maharaj ruled this kingdom. He was made the king. Now he had this Brahman conception, and now he had to rule. So how did he rule? And he still didn't become entangled in it. So he had this conception, this Brahman conception. He was seeing everyone as spirit, the super soul, and the three modes they are driving them. So the way he would act with everyone is in such a way that he would not get entangled. Even though he had a wife later, a children later, a big kingdom, people get entangled with it, right? People get caught in it. This is mine, me and mine, right? So this Brahman conception, it helps us to overcome this me, mine conception. Just like for that 1 month when we are leaving the company, it's like okay, it's me, mine is now gone. I have to go, right? Any questions? Okay, can anyone read this section? Can anyone read, please?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, Madhav.
A living entity appears to be born because of the birth of the material body. But actually, the living entity is internal. He is not born, and in spite of being situated in the material body, he is transcendental and internal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in any material activities. Therefore, the activities performed due to his contact with material body do not entangle him.
Yeah. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything. Although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Yeah. Continue reading, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण, आर यू स्पीकिंग टू मी?
Yeah, go
प्रभु
ahead.
जी, सेम अभी आपने वही बोला जो ऑफिस में जब छोड़ देते हैं, 1 महीने का टाइम देते हैं, उनका बस खाली अपना काम सल्टाना होता है, उसके अलावा उनका कोई और उसमें इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहता।
Right, right.
सेम उसी तरीके से यहाँ पे भी वही है।
Yeah, I mean it's not similar, but it just gives an idea. You see, it gives an idea. Like you may buy a home, and at present you may be staying in a rented house. So when you're going to leave that rented flat, you don't show that much attachment that you would show it every day, right? Because तुम्हें मालूम है कि I have to go, right? So you don't get entangled in it. It's like that. Um, in trains, you book a reservation, but when your destination comes, are you attached with that seat? No, right? Till that point, you're sitting on that seat, you're using it, you're sleeping on it. But the moment your destination comes, you just get up, pick up your bag, get down, right? Yes or no? Are you looking who is sitting next? No, right? You're not worried at all, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu ji.
Yeah. Why? Why that understanding over there? It is not mine. Why that understanding comes there? Because you understand the temporariness of this world. You understand the temporariness of the ticket, the railway ticket, right? Similarly, when we understand the temporariness of this body, the world, then we don't become entangled to it. For the point it is there with us, we will utilize it properly. We will utilize it for dharma, we will utilize it for achieving dharma, we will utilize it for serving Krishna. But the moment we have to go, we will just get up and move, right? So that way the soul is not entangled. So this will only happen when there's a Brahman conception. Okay, read this section, highlighted section.
The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of body, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature.
Subtle,
Therefore,
subtle,
it is
subtle.
impossible.
Yeah.
Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with his body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one is in science can ascertain this.
Okay. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. So the soul makes the body full of conscious. Okay? When it goes out, the body is not conscious at all. Please read, someone.
There are various theories regarding consciousness. Here is Bhagavad Gita, the example of sun and the sunshine is given. As the sun is situated in one place but is illuminating the whole universe, so a small
Particle.
particle of the spirit soul, although situated in the heart of the body, illuminating the whole body of by consciousness. Thus, consciousness is the proof of presence of the soul, as sunshine or light is the proof of the presence of sun. When the soul is present in the body, Hare Krishna,
No, go ahead.
First, the consciousness is in the body. There is consciousness all over the body, and as soon as the soul is passed from the body, there is no more consciousness. This can be easily understood by any intelligent man. Therefore, consciousness is not a part of the combination of matter. It is symptom of living entity, and the consciousness of the living entity, although quantitatively one with the supreme consciousness, is not supreme because the consciousness of the particular body does not share that of another body. But the super soul, which is situated in all body as a friend of the individual soul, is conscious of all bodies. That is the difference
Where that is the difference between supreme
between the
consciousness and
super
individual
consciousness
consciousness.
and the individual consciousness.
Yeah. So again, the soul and the concept of the soul, its consciousness, when it is there in the body, when it is not there in the body, the consciousness is not there, right? And the super soul is a conscious of all the bodies, okay, not just one body, but all the bodies. While individual consciousness is only of the jivatma. Again and again, same point is there, because this whole knowledge helps us to become detached and then to practice spirituality becomes easier, right? If we are attached, right, then practicing spirituality will become difficult. Those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between body and the knower of the body, and also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. Ah, someone read. Can someone read?
The purport of this 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between the body, the honor of the body, and the supersoul. One should recognize the process of liberation as described in verse 8 through 12. Then one can go on to a supreme destination. A faithful person should at the first have some good association to hear of God, and thus gradually become enlightened. If one accepts a spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spiritual master.
No,
One can
spirit,
learn to
matter
distinguish.
and spirit.
Spirit. Sorry, Prabhuji. And that becomes a stepping stone for further spiritual realization. A spiritual master, by various instruction, teaches his students to get free from the material concept of life. For instance, in Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna instructing Arjuna to free him from materialistic considerations.
Yeah, wait,
One
wait,
can
wait,
understand.
wait, wait.
Yeah.
So, uh, the 13th chapter tells us difference between body and owner of the body, okay, and soul, and what is the process of liberation. And it also tells us that we need to first get good association to hear of God, of Krishna, from enlightened soul, that is spiritual master. Then all this progress becomes successful, you know and just like Arjuna was confused on the battlefield, he got his guru, who is his friend also, Krishna, and therefore after the whole Bhagavad Gita he could do his duty. Okay, so similarly with the in the association and service of guru, we can further our spiritual realization to maturity actually, and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, can you read?
One can understand that his body is matter. It is analyzed with its 24 elements. The body is the gross manifestation, and the subtitle manifestation is the mind and psychological effects. And the symptoms of life are the interaction of these features. But over and above this, there is the soul, and there is also the super soul. The soul and the super souls are two. This material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and the 24 material elements. One who can see constitution of the whole material manifestation as this combination of the soul and the material element, and can also and can also see the situation of the supreme soul becomes eligible for the transfer of the spiritual world. These things are meant for the contemplation, and for realization one can should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of spiritual master.
So after hearing this whole knowledge, we should do these two things. What it is? Contemplation. And then we will get realization. Okay. So this knowledge that we got, right, when we contemplate more on it, you understand what does contemplate means? What does contemplate means?
Uh, Things which are in the body or
Con-
uh, uh,
contemplate means to think deeply on the
Prabhuji,
subject matter.
yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, contemplation means the experience you got by going through a particular process, like reading continuously and going through the whatever instruction from acharyas and all. You will have a defined focus object that is called contemplation, Prabhuji.
Hmm. Yeah.
Contemplation means you have a particular object, but over the period you will really realize that this is the my object. That is where you're out. You will take a true decision, right decision.
Okay. Okay. Good. In simple words, if you look at the definition of contemplate, then look thoughtfully, think carefully about something. Chintan karna. Have you heard this word chintan? That is
yes,
contemplation.
Prabhuji, thinking of something, thinking of.
Thinking deeply of it. Not just thinking, but thinking deeply of it from various angles. That is also contemplation. To think about the same thing from various angles. When do we contemplate? Can you give me examples? When do we contemplate?
By seeing something, Prabhuji, by desiring, seeing,
Okay.
tasting, all this,
Okay. Okay.
smelling,
Suppose
everything.
I'll tell you this contemplation in a very simple example. Suppose you have to go to a marriage. Okay. Which dress will you choose? Which sari will you choose? Tell me.
Which I like best, and I जो मुझे लगेगा कि मुझ पे ज्यादा अच्छा लगेगा या
Okay.
फंक्शन के हिसाब से बहुत एप्लीकेबल है उसको मैंने
Okay.
चूज करा.
Suppose you come to know that your sister is also wearing similar color. Then what will you think?
If the वहाँ पे ड्रेस कोड है तो आई विल गो फॉर इट, अदरवाइज आई विल change to other one.
Suppose it is in the marriage, there are many relatives coming. All the family members are there. Then how will you think?
प्रभु जी उस सिचुएशन में ऐसा होता है कि कुछ ऐसा पहने जो पहले कभी फैमिली फंक्शन में नहीं पहना हो.
Yeah. So this is
या
called contemplation. You start thinking from various angles. Okay. It is not like you just go and pick up. You start thinking from various angles. What are you going to do? Thought the same, right? So therefore, in a marriage, woman contemplates like anything, right? But if you ask men, क्या पहनना है? यही पहनना है, right? For them, answer is very simple. But for women, the answer is very complicated. ये ऊपर जाएगा, ये नीचे जाएगा, ये दोपहर को रहेगा, ये शाम को रहेगा, ये सुबह रहेगा, ये प्रोग्राम है, वो प्रोग्राम है. But if you ask men, ये पूरा दिन एक ही है. So point is, we contemplate. Okay, various situations we contemplate. Now for men, today there was budget. So women are thinking, okay, budget हो गया, अभी क्या है? And husband is scratching his head and saying, ये टैक्स बढ़ गया, वो टैक्स बढ़ गया, ये घट गया, वो हो गया. hmm? Now if I filing tax, I have to think about this, I have to think about that, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, this is called contemplation. So now we got this whole knowledge, of the soul, super soul, body. अभी इसको contemplate करना है. ठीक है? So we have to think all this again and again. In the Shastra, it is said, okay, how many stomachs does a cow have? Do you know how many stomach does a cow have?
Prabhuji, one?
No, I think there are five of it. Five of
I
it.
don't know. I don't know.
So what they do is they eat, they put it in one stomach. Then they again bring out in that mouth. Again they chew it. Again they put it back. Again they bring it back. Again they chew it. कभी देखा है काव को चबाती ही रहती है? यस और नो? खा तो नहीं रही, वो चबा रही है, बैठ बैठ के चबा रही है, राइट? What are they doing? So they are eating the same thing what they had eaten before. This is also called as contemplation. जो सुना है उसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं. Bring it back, think about it. Bring it back, think about it. That is also called contemplation. So the point is, this is philosophy. Okay, from a philosophical level, ये contemplation if we do, then we start becoming more spiritual. Okay, इसको कहते हैं ज्ञान. So जो ज्ञानी होता है, he contemplates from various angles, and on the intellectual platform he satisfies himself. And therefore the jnanis, they are very less attracted to this world. So for a bhakta, when he does contemplation of this, he becomes less attracted to the material enjoyment, and he becomes more attracted in serving Krishna. So for him, that's the transformation happens. Okay, any questions? Any question?
नहीं प्रभुजी, हमारा तो नहीं है.
Okay. So that 13th chapter is meant for contemplation. Now knowledge है ना उसमें, contemplation, all this, all these 20 points: humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity. Think about all this. See how you can implement in your life. 20 points. Then we grow in spiritual life. Okay. Any questions before we move to 14th chapter? Okay. So 14th chapter is very, very interesting chapter. It's a very practical chapter, I will say. It gives us great clarity. If we can put things in table, that thing becomes, it gives us great clarity, right? Table format or points format, then it gives us great clarity. If you have seen, when you studied in your college, if you made points in the notes, then you have understood that subject and you can revise it properly. Yes, if you remember your 10th, 12th, engineering, medical, law, whatever you did, and when you made notes when the teacher was speaking and you could table it down, point by point, then it became easy to remember all these things. And that paper went easy also. So this 14th chapter is like that. It can be put into table, it can be put into points, and this knowledge is amazing knowledge. So how much time we have? 8:30. 8:30. So okay. Hmm. Okay. So this name of the 14th chapter is three modes of material nature. Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamagun. Have you heard this word? Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamagun. That is it. That's the chapter. Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom. So now this is a wisdom. What is the difference between wisdom and knowledge and information?
Knowledge means jnana. Or wisdom means when it's something which was desired and not applied. It was taken in a box for future. And another thing, and desire, icha, desire, icha.
No, no, no. See, wisdom is realized knowledge, and knowledge is theoretical. Information is theoretical, but when we put into practical, we get a wisdom. Okay. See, a child sees his mother every day cooking, right? And by looking at it, he gets a knowledge ki how to cook rice, how to cook dal, how to cook chapati. He's looking every day. Every day he's seeing. When he will get wisdom? When he will actually do it. When the first time he will cook rice, the first time he will cook dal. And when he get that experience, with that he gets a wisdom, which he didn't understand just by looking at his mother, right? There's a difference in just looking at it than doing it ourselves. So when one does it ourselves, we get a wisdom. Like, you may have a baby, right? Now, if you want to ask somebody, how to take care of the baby, whom are you going to ask?
Mother,
Why?
because she
She has that previous experience, right?
because she take care of us.
No, no, she has the experience.
Yeah.
She knows better than us. Now, if we have read even if 10, 20 books on taking care of baby, if we compare it with our mother's knowledge, which will be more practical? Definitely our mother's knowledge, right? So we may get knowledge, but someone will have wisdom. It's like that. Okay. So this wisdom is coming from the sages, the sadhus. Okay. We will just look at the text. Param bhuya pravakshami jnanam jnananam jnanam uttamam. Yagyatva munaye sarve param siddhim ito gataha. Munaye. See, this wisdom is coming from the munaye. Munaye means sadhus, rishi munis. And rishi munis, they are practicing spiritual life, right? So when somebody is practicing spiritual life, his jnana is jnananam, is wisdom. It is not just information, but it is wisdom. If you want to choose a coach and you have two options, one person is saying, I have read 100 books on that topic, and one person is saying, I have 10 years of experience in working in that field. Which one will you choose?
Experience, Prabhuji.
Experience wala, right? Why? Because that is jnananam and not just jnanam. Like that. So Krishna is saying, this knowledge that I'll talk to you, the Rishi Munis use it. And they get param siddhi by following this knowledge. Got it? The Supreme Person of Godhead said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained supreme perfection. Okay. Can someone read this section?
From the 7th chapter to the end of 12th chapter, Sri Krishna is detailed reveals the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. Now the Lord Himself is further enlightening Arjuna. It is one understand this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of a devotional service. In the 13th chapter, it is clearly explained that by humbling, developing knowledge, one may possibly be free from the material entanglement. It is also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are and how they act, how bind, and how they give liberation. The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far as in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transfer to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains same knowledge in the better way. This knowledge is this knowledge is um,
Far, far.
but far superior to all other process of knowledge. Thus, he far explained, and knowing this, many attained perfection. Thus, it is expected that one should understand this 14th chapter will attain perfection.
Yeah. So this particular chapter will tell us few things here, that what these three modes are, how they act, how they bind us, meaning how they have, how they restrict us, and how they give us liberation. They can give us liberation also. Okay. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain the transcendental nature like my own. So Krishna is free from the three modes. Okay. So he's saying you understand this knowledge, and when you implement it, you will get transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Okay. Can someone read?
After acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires quantitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. It is understood from Vedic literature that liberated souls who have reached the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always looks to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged his transcendental loving service. So even after liberation, the devotee do not lose their individual identities.
No, go ahead. Generally,
Generally, in the material world, whether knowledge we get contained by the three modes of material nature, knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. As soon as one is situated in that transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform at the Supreme Person. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being free from the material activities of the material form, this spiritual identity becomes formless without variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in the world, in the spiritual world, there is also variety, but actually, in the spiritual sky, one attains spiritual form. There are spiritual there are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontented, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual activities. One who thus develops the spiritual quality is not affected either by the creation or by destruction of the material world.
okay. So in this particular verse, Krishna says, one can attain transcendental nature like my own. Okay. Now this word has some deeper meaning in philosophy. Idam jnanam upashritya mam sadharmyam agatah. Mam sadharmyam agatah. You will attain my same nature, sadharmyam mama, like me. So it has multiple meanings. Okay, there is a philosophy. So the absolute truth, that is Krishna, can be understood in three levels. Understood, or you'll say realized, in three levels. First one is Brahman. Second one is Paramatma. Third one is Bhagavan. Now, when Krishna says you will get the same nature as mine, some say we will become like Brahman. Some say on the level of Paramatma. Some say, Vaishnavas say, on the level of Bhagavan. Okay. So that's why Prabhupada and the Acharyas have explained it in detail, what it actually means. So in Brahman, what happens is, this is spiritual sky, spiritual effulgence. Just like, there is light everywhere. So this Brahman is like that. So one can merge into it. Vileen ho jana. If you have heard this word, vileen, ekatvena. So they merge into this. Okay, but the individuality remains. But it is not easily understood, the individuality, how it is remaining, because it is just like a sky. You merge in the sky, you think it has become one. Okay, but the individuality still remains. Paramatma. Here one is able to see Paramatma and uh, offer prayers to him. That what happens. And the third is aspect is Bhagwan. Here you go to spiritual planet and serve Krishna in one of the five rasas. Okay, so this is what acharyas are explaining in that whole purport, that you go to the spiritual planet, then you serve Krishna in one of the rasas. That happens when one gets Bhagwan realization. So when Krishna says you get abode of mine, sorry, you get the same nature of me, then depending on the yogi, that nature could be Brahman Paramatma or Bhagavan. If it is a Bhakta, he will desire to go to the spiritual planet of Krishna and serve him in one of the rasas. But if he is impersonalist, then he will think of merging into the Brahman. Getting? Any question on this? So that's why Prabhupada is saying that one will go to the spiritual planet and obtain spiritual qualities and serve them with Krishna. Okay. The total material substance called Brahman. Okay, we talked about Brahman, that is spiritual sky, is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible birth of all living beings. O son of Bharata. This is an explanation of the world. Okay. Okay. Someone wants to read this? Yes? Does someone want to read this?
This is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajana, the body and the spirit soul. This combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the Supreme God Himself. The material tattva is the total cause of total cosmic manifestation and that total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called as Brahman. The Supreme Personality impregnates that the total substance and thus innumerable universe become possible. This total material substance, the Mahatattva, is described as Brahman in the Vedic literature, Mu-
Mundaka
Mundaka
Upanishad.
1.1.19. Tasmat, tas,
Tasmat
tasmat
etad Brahma nama rupam anna sa jayate.
The Supreme Person imaginates that Brahmans with the
Impregnates.
seed of
Impregnates.
impregnates that Brahman with the seed of the living entities, the 24 elements beginning from earth, water, fire, air, and all material energy, and they constitute that what is called Maha Brahma or Great Brahman, the material nature as explained in the seventh chapter. Beyond this there is another supreme nature, the living entity. Into material nature of the supreme nature is mixed by the will of supreme personality of Godhead, and therefore thereafter all living entities are born this material nature. The scorpion
Scorpion.
lays it
Scorpion.
Scorpion lays all eggs in the
Piles
piles
of
of
rice.
rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice, but the rice is not cause of scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of all living entities. This seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as product of material nature. Thus, every living entity, according to his past activity, has a different body created by this material nature so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deed. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of the living entities in this material world.
Okay. So Krishna is saying, I impregnate the Brahman which gives birth to all living beings. Okay. So the Mahatattva means the total cosmic manifestation, which includes the three modes of material nature, the whole matter, earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, intelligence, material mind. And then Krishna impregnates with what? With jivas, with spiritual spirits into this cosmic manifestation, and numerous bodies are formed out of it. Okay? Numerous bodies are formed out of it. So one may see, scorpion taking birth in piles of rice. Does the rice give birth to the scorpion? Does the rice give birth to the scorpion?
No.
No.
So we know that the scorpion, mother scorpion, has laid the eggs, and due course of time the scorpions have come out, right? Right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Same way in this earth, or same way in this material nature, we see so many bodies, trees, reptiles, everything, human beings, aquatics, birds, elephants, so many things. It seems like the material nature is only creating them, but in reality this material nature is creating the body, but the soul that is driving the body is provided by whom?
Paramatma.
Krishna. Yes. So Krishna impregnates. See, the mother gives birth to the child, right? Can she do it independently? Yes or no?
No.
No,
No.
right? The husband is needed, father is needed. And what does the father do? Just pass down the semen. So technically 9 months the baby is there in the mother's womb, grown, everything comes out from that body, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the mother is giving birth. Okay, the mother is not the only cause that is giving birth, it is the father also. Similarly, Krishna, he impregnates living entities into this Mahat Brahma, okay, which is 24 elements, and then the body started coming out. Okay, so he's the father, and then this body is made by the Mahat Tattva, but it is done by the power of Krishna when he supplies the spirit soul. Like that. That is the meaning of it. Now, why we are discussing so much? Can you tell me why this philosophy is getting discussed so much? Because one can make various arguments. You know what is the argument of the modern scientist? That the scorpions come out of rice. The rice is the cause of the scorpion. That is their argument. Meaning, the whole world was created by the material energy only. Okay? You don't need God to be in the picture. That is what the modern scientists say. Right? We have learnt in our whole education that we came from monkeys. Monkeys came from another species. It started with bacteria or amoeba. One single cell, it divided on its own. Yes, isn't it? That's what we learnt in our schools.
यस प्रभु जी, मतलब
No
भगवान
one,
को मानते नहीं
yeah,
मॉडर्न.
yes, भगवान को नहीं माना है. वो बोले कि खुद ही खुद सब कुछ हुआ. The rice was the cause of the scorpion. Why? Because the scorpion came out of the rice. Arre? So rice is the cause of the scorpion. Similarly, the whole understanding of modern scientists is that you don't need God. So that's why, even in the space exploration, they are more concerned where is water. Why they are concerned where is water? Because they believe that water started life. Isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. That's why this whole purport is given. That without the Supreme Lord, there cannot be life. Life always comes from life. It doesn't come out of matter. Now you understand? Now you understand what is this? Is this statement that Krishna is saying, I give birth, is complete opposite statement of the modern scientist. For them, all living beings is possible by the earth only, especially the water. But Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I impregnate them in this Mahat Brahma. That is this material nature of air, water, fire, air, ether, everything. And you get a simple body where the soul is driving it. Getting? So there is a difference in understanding of the modern scientist and what Bhagavad Gita is teaching. Any question on this?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। तो
Yes.
प्रभु जी मतलब साइंस कैसे एक्सपीरियंस किया जाए कि मतलब भगवान की अस्तित्व के मतलब ऐसे कैसे हम लोग आर्गुमेंट करके बता सकते हैं कि नहीं
Yeah.
ये सब भगवान का क्या है?
Okay. There are simple ways, and I'll tell you why it is. What is the reason also? First thing is. You see this painting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So when you see this painting, you want to know the painter who painted it, right?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
You see this painting, you want to know who painted it, right?
Painter.
Yeah. So when we see all this nature, we want to know who created all this. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
If there is a painting of nature, okay, if there is a painting of nature, we want to know who the painter is. And when we look at the actual nature, we should understand that we need a painter. Without that, it is not possible. Yes or no? So this is simple way of understanding.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu.
Another thing. Do you know about these automatic doors? They are in malls. You walk near it, they open the door. You go away, they close it. Right?
Yes.
Is this automatic? Is this really independently automatic?
No, some system is inside.
Yeah, some system is there. And who created the system?
So engineers.
Some engineer has created the system, right? So, children they think it is automatically opening and done, and therefore they start playing with it. Yes or no?
Yes.
But adults they are not interested in all these things. Why? Because they know how these things work, right?
Hmm.
So similarly, our whole solar planet system that is working, okay, that is moving around, round around the sun or around the earth. It is not doing automatically. Is it happening automatically?
No.
No, there is some forces behind it. And behind every force, there is a person. If there is energy, there needs to be a energetic, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So by this proof, we can say there is God.
Okay.
Okay. So this proof, the scientist, modern scientists, they may not accept, Okay. That is there. In the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, why Krishna does like this? He explains. Okay. Hmm. I think 7th chapter. Yeah, 7. 7.7. So Krishna very interestingly he says how to see him. Mattah parataranyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana eva. When you see a pearl necklace, what is it that you don't see? What you don't
Thread.
see? Thread in it. Right? O conqueror of men, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So who is Krishna in necklace of pearl?
Thread.
Thread. Is thread seen?
No.
No. So this is how Krishna himself says, I am hidden. So therefore we may give arguments. Only one who hears from a devotee will be able to accept this. Otherwise, they will keep going with the argument of atheist and theist. Right? Because Krishna is saying, I am thread only. You do whatever you want, I will remain the thread. And the scientist will say, I don't see the thread, therefore he is not there. And a devotee will say, Arey, pearl necklace won't be able to hold itself if the thread is not there. Therefore, Krishna is the thread. And this argument will continue. Okay? Yeah. So this is how it is. So we need to understand that even if we may give the argument, they will come up with some counter argument. Okay? But this is how the Krishna has made the system where he remains hidden. And Kunti Maharani says very nice thing. I'll take one more minute. Who is he? He's an actor, right? But when he's given a makeup, he can be made to look very young, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Kunti Maharani says, Krishna, you are the supreme, but you are like an actor in a drama. And many people who cannot recognize you that you are the supreme. You are the supreme. They think you are like a cowherd boy. They think you are like a historical person. Getting? So we may give arguments. We have to know arguments. That is there. But at the same time, we need to understand that Krishna is saying, I am thread. Means he is not going to come so easily in the front. Getting? He is not going to come so easily in the front. He will remain in the behind only. Okay, let's finish this one and then we will stop. It should be understood that all the species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature. See, they are being given birth. By whom? I am the seed giving father. Aham bija pradapita. What is the verse? 14.4. Aham bija pradapita. Aham bija pradapita. Pita. I am father. Aham bija. So I give the bija. Just like the husband gives the bija to wife. Here the wife is. Who is the wife? Mahat Brahma. So he gives all the bija over there. And Sarva yoneshu kontaya murtaya sambhavanti tesam brahma mahad yonir. Brahma mahad brahmir. Aham bija pradapita. That's how they gave birth. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. Modern science doesn't talk about this. Okay, they say it started with a big bang or with a point, single point. The living entity is a combination of the material nature and spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only in this planet but on every planet, even in the highest where Brahma is situated. So living entities are everywhere, okay, on all the planets, not just on Earth. They are having different bodies. That's it. In the sun, they have fire body. In other planets, they have different body. In here, we have Panchabhuta body: earth, water, fire, air, ether. But in the sun, it's only one single fire body. Everywhere there are living entities within the earth. There are living entities even in water and even in fire. All these appearances are due to mother material nature and Krishna's seed giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in the various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds. According to karma, living entities come according to their past karma and they get new bodies so that they can continue whatever they were desiring. Right? Okay. So we can stop here. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Any questions? Okay. So,
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
yes.
प्रभु जी, एक क्वेश्चन नहीं है, लेकिन वो जो आपने ब्राह्मण, परमात्मा और भगवान के बारे में जो किया था ना, वो थोड़ा एग्जाम्पल देते तो इट्स इजी टू, मतलब समझने में आसान हो जाती। प्रभु जी, इतना डीपली समझ में नहीं आया एक्चुअली।
Oh, okay, okay.
तो प्लीज नेक्स्ट क्लास में एक थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर
No,
लेंगे वो।
I'll explain here only. See, there is sun. Sun is there, right?
यस प्रभु जी।
Yeah. So there is what it is called? Sunlight. Okay. Sorry, sin likha hai, sunlight. Then there is planet itself, and then there is a sun god. So the sunlight is also sun, right?
यस।
Yeah, sunlight is also sun. So sunlight is Brahman as compared to Brahman. Planet is a place, and in that place there lives a sun god, and sun god is compared to Bhagavan, like that it is. So Krishna is there, from his body is
मतलब वो
coming.
पार्ट होके,
Sorry, yeah.
मतलब पार्ट पार्ट होके नीचे, मतलब मेन सोर्स से ये पार्ट पार्ट होके नीचे तक आया है, ऐसा है क्या?
Yes, yeah, that's right. I will show you one more thing. The cosmos. Okay, so here is Krishna. From his body there is coming effulgence, right? His body is coming effulgence, light आ रहा है, ठीक है?
हाँ
This is
हाँ।
Brahman. This is Brahman. ये जो light है ना, वो Brahman है.
अच्छा हाँ।
Okay. So here is the description of the whole world. Krishna is there in Golok Vrindavan in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha planets. Okay. There is Dwarka, Ayodhya. Then there are Vaikuntha planets where there is Narayan, Nirsimha, Kurma, Matsya. Then there is Kailas with Sadashiv. And then there is Brahma Jyoti, which is the Jyoti. Okay. Which is the sun, which is the light that is coming from the body of Krishna. That is Brahma Jyoti. And from Brahma, after and beyond this Brahma Jyoti is Karana ocean, where there is Mahavishnu, and from each of the Mahavishnu various universes are coming. We are staying in one of the universe. In that also we are staying in Bhuloka. Okay, and this universe started by another Vishnu, which is called Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and he expands into Shirodaksha Vishnu, who is the Paramatma. So this is pictorial representation of the three things. So if somebody is advancing his spiritual life, either he can merge into this Brahman, or he can enter into Vaikuntha planets. Okay, so when he thinks of merging into Brahman, he merges into the spiritual sky where there is no body, there is Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And when he goes to the Bhagwan, he goes into spiritual planet. Getting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, any
Hare
other question?
Krishna.
Any other question? Okay.
No problem.
Okay. So